Welcome back to Half A Hot Rods. If you haven't been to the channel before, this is my 57 Chevy pickup. By far the coolest truck I've ever owned. And what I'm doing is I'm putting this 57 body on a 97 chassis so that I can have a fuel injected big block and a 5-speed and a 57 Chevy truck that I can use every day. We're going to show you that you don't have to have all the tools. Nope, I don't have them. You don't have to have all the talent. Don't have that either. And you don't have to have a ton of money, because I have very little of that. But we're going to figure it out as we go. Last time we got the body sitting on the chassis. Today we're going to spend a ton of time making it fit better. And when I say we, I mean mostly me and the hound dog. Hound dog. Hound dog. He doesn't do much other than wag his stump, so he's not a ton of help. So we're going to get started. Come on along. We're going to take one of my favorite tools and get cracking. Hound dog. Are you ready to do some work? Tail wag. Are you ready to do some work? Hound dog. Hound dog, are you ready to work? Oh yeah, that's the tail wag. He's ready to rock and roll. Here we go. We're going to get back on the 57 today and get the cab to fit better and the front clip to fit better, mostly the cab. And as you know, I've been using my cherry picker with the custom hardwood, it's pine actually, the custom used deck board extendo arm, and every time I move it, it wants to tip over, and it's kind of a pain. I've been looking for another cherry picker anyway for another project, which you may have already seen, or it may be coming soon. I found this beauty on Marketplace last week for $100. I know, it's rusty and ugly. Oh, and also it included this engine stand, which is, you know, heavy. So just for comparison's sake, let's put these two next to each other. That one's got just a touch more reach. I don't think I'll have to worry about hitting core supports anymore. And hopefully this one won't want to tip over when I pick up that cab. Then I can leave the other one hooked to the front clip. I mean, we're just getting all sorts of high speed. Big time is what I'm saying. I got the Harbor Freight, and then I got the Marketplace, and I mean, snap on, eat your heart out, right? All right, so let's get to it. Hello, Rusty. Might be just a shade farther forward than we were before, but that might create just that much more radiator room, which we are in need of. We're definitely in need of more radiator room. So, might be time to put the front clip back on, put the hood back on, see where everything fits again, and look at how our cab is sitting. See how crooked it is. Maybe it's not as crooked as I think. It's definitely sitting down at the back now, but the question is it too far down? And do we need to bring the front of the cab down, or do we need to bring the back of the cab up? I don't know. And yeah, all that HVAC stuff. Sure would be easier to pull it without the cab on here if I'm going to pull it. And I'm really starting to lean towards I'm going to pull it. Because if my butt's here, my knees are going to be here. Yeah. And also, how am I going to cover all that if I don't pull it? Am I just going to look at that? I don't really want to do that. Alright, we're going to take a little break and be back in a few. Hound dog! You ready for a break, buddy? Oh yeah, I need some water. It's getting hot out here, Adam. Alright, buddy. Let's get you a break and get some water. So Hound and I are back from our break. Got the front clip set back on here. And you can see my gaps are a little funky now because in dropping the back of the cab, obviously that raises the front in relation to the fenders. And we're actually at a point where this front clip's just kind of floating. So we're going to make some adjustments. I've made some marks on the firewall here where I'm going to cut so we can let the front of the cab come down some more on both sides. And the back of the cab is as low as I want to go because there it is in relation to the fuel tank that I tried to cut. But I didn't, because I knew exactly where it was the whole time. Shut up, Maverick. Well, anyway, we're going to cut. We're going to pull the front clip off. Again, we're going to cut a little more out of the cab. And I think I've made a decision. I want to try and use it, but it wasn't working when I took it apart. And where are my 6'4" legs going to go? Not that I'm going to be spending a lot of time in the passenger seat, but what if that idiot wants to ride? Where are his legs going to go? And where are Missy's legs going to go? Well, let's be honest. There's plenty of room for legs.
We represent the Lollipop Guild.
Yeah. Don't worry. She doesn't watch. She's not going to get mad. So we're going to pull all the HVAC out. So front clip comes off again, cab comes off again, and we just keep going until we run out of cutoff wheels, and then we go to town and get more cutoff wheels. Because, yeah, that, I'm telling you, those $1,800 kits to bolt it onto another frame, those are looking better all the time. So, but I don't have $1,800, so it doesn't matter how good they look.
Also, Amazon has a turbo kit for $1,000, so just remember that.
Objection. Relevance. Oh, yeah! Take it easy, baby. I'll work on it. All right, that's better. We're getting there. I think that the back of the cab probably needs to come up just a skosh, but that's not, well, maybe not. I mean, it's real close, real close. So, I think we're going to pull the cab off again and cut some more out of these to allow us a little movement, because right now it fits real snug and it doesn't necessarily have to right now. Yeah, that's much better without all the HVAC stuff. This, I don't know that this should be the same plane as this. It's definitely not. But that center line lines up and this center line lines up, doesn't it? Well, I measured the back and those are almost perfect side to side. We'll double check those before we, start bzz, bzz, bzz. And yeah, I think that's about where she's going to go. I don't know if I dare try and push that forward anymore, the cab. I mean, we could. But where's that steering wheel hitting now? The steering wheel's going to hit about somewhere in here. And that does not look like it's going to be centered. New problems. I sure would like to get the sheet metal welded in so that I can take my bracing out and then start finalizing stuff. So I need to get some replacements for these guys on both sides. I'm debating on the steps. They're like $122 a whack. And that's a lot of my budget. So, which is as little as possible. Part of me wants to push it forward more, and part of me wants to leave it where it's at. Pushing it forward more would get us a little more radiator room, because there is not much of that. I really don't want to put a radiator in the bed. I think our widths look good. Probably should look down the center of the line again. That still looks pretty good. That one looks like it needs to come back more. Definitely does. That looks better. And that plane up there is better as well. And this relationship looks better now too. I might go ahead and trim both of those off so that they're not interfering. Yeah, that's going to be much better for the passenger. I kind of want to set a seat next to it and see. And I really wish that came together better. As you can see, there's the center of the column. I want it to be here. All right. What's next? I don't know what's next. You probably don't want to sit there and watch me think for half an hour, 45 minutes. So I'll be back once I figure out what's next. Well, I'm back from my little lunch break and doing some thinking and moving stuff around on this truck, and I identified another problem, the steering column. I went ahead and set it in here, and as you can certainly see, it doesn't exactly line up with the gauge cluster, which is not okay. So I've marked it where the center is now and where it needs to be. I think there might be enough that I can move the bracket on the bottom. I think the column will let it come over. I think the column will let it move over. But I don't know. And if I've got to do any cutting and stuff, better to do that with the cab off again. I think I was talking about cutting these across here. I think actually I'm going to zip this off under the edge, because I think that'll make for a cleaner way to join this. So, I guess it's time to pull the front off again, and then pull the cab off again. And see, that line is not exactly where it was before on the floor. But my wheels are good, and the wheel well. I'm much more confident my wheels are straight now. So, yeah. Take everything off again, do some more cutting, check it again, modify the steering column mount. Here we go. I'm not going to make you watch that again. I'm going to do it, and then I'll bring you back when we're working on that steering column. Alright, we did some fitting and some cutting and some fitting and some cutting, and I dropped the front clip. It almost made me cry. Hopefully I can straighten that out. I mean, I know the truck's not perfect, but I didn't need to do it more harm. Got the firewall real close. Might need to trim a little more off there, but it is closer than it has been so far. Every time I pick the camera up, I see more stuff I want to trim, and then we'll have to build bridges, so to speak, to connect it all together. I have the steering wheel roughed in. Got it moved over so that it is pretty well centered. I'll have to build a bracket. I mean, vice grips are okay with me, but I'm betting it won't pass inspection that way. I actually sat in it on the bars. That was kind of cool. Trimmed out more of the rocker so that we could position the cab better, move it around. Yeah, I've just been out here working like a dog. So, I think that might be enough for today. We're going to be working on Maverick's truck tomorrow. Oh, I trimmed this front section of floor off that I've been talking about for the whole time. And the cutoff wheel just nicked the floorboard, which is what I was hoping, and marked my front. So, we got that going for us. I think before I firm up cab mounts and front end mounts, I want to get the sheet metal work done so that I know that the cab isn't going to get wider or shallower through here, because I think it's good where I braced it, but I'd feel a lot better if I had the running boards back in there, and then even maybe the door pockets, because I'd like to, that way I know this width from here to here isn't going to change. Once I know that's not going to change, then we can get to joining the floors together, actually mounting the cab, because right now it's sitting crooked because that's too close. But level-wise, front to back, it's real close. The front clip will sit on there pretty good. I think our depth for the steering wheel is not too bad. I had to cut the existing bracket and then swing the top of the steering wheel towards the passenger side a little bit. It's not perfect, but I asked Wyatt to come out and look at it and didn't tell him what I did, and he didn't find it until I told him. So at least when you look through the window and you're sitting behind it, you are centered on the gauges, which is what I wanted. Still don't know what I'm going to do for gauges for sure, but I would sure like to make them fit in that factory enclosure. You know, there'll be a lot of trimming and stuff afterwards, adding sheet metal or doing something down low to make that look nice. But for right now, we're just trying to get the rough fit of the cab. Yeah. So I think the next step for this is going to be to order some sheet metal, get these rust repair panels And did that not? Must have had something there. Get the rust repair panels, then I can get the doors hung. And then I don't know if I'll hang the doors right away or not, because that might be more trouble than we want. But yeah, we'll get these guys back on the truck. That would be cool. Really change the look of it. So if I'm going to buy the footwells, and the reason I want to buy those is because it should be the right length, but then they're aftermarket, so is there any guarantee that they're the right length? I don't know. But also, I'm not a fabricator. I don't know if you figured that out yet. And it would be very difficult for me to make good looking footwells to put in this. So footwells for it, I think the cheapest I found were like 122 a piece. That's $244. And then the lower door hinge mount, where these are both just gone, I want to say those are about $60 a piece. That's another 120 plus 244 be 364. So almost 400. It'll be $400 by the time they get it here, at least. Maybe if I spend enough, they won't charge me shipping. But I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Because as much as I'd like to just build those, I would also like them to not look like crap and be the correct length, which I think we're more likely to get with pre-built ones than me doing it. So, yeah. So I think we might hang the front clip back on it because Maverick's going to work on his truck tomorrow, or we're all going to. And when I say we all, probably he and I will work on it, and then Chesney and Wyatt will talk smack behind us. But it'll be fun, you know, for almost everybody. All right, well, we're getting closer. That was probably a full 8-hour day out here, pretty close to it. Made some good progress. Unfortunately, none of it's stuff that you can see just by looking at the truck. You know, it's all little stuff that made things work better, that unless you knew exactly what I did, it'd be hard to tell by looking at it. But we're getting closer. I guess we'll get this back on there. Hopefully I can do it without throwing it on the floor and smashing it on the cherry picker, because that really makes me sad. And yeah, I guess we'll add that to the list of things that need fixing, because, you know, that list wasn't long enough. Idiot. You idiot! All right. If you like what we're doing, check us out on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. And as always, I appreciate you watching. Remember, if I can do it, you can do it. We'll see you next time.